Hi class, welcome to the overview of the course lecture. This lecture will accompany the syllabus and step you through the syllabus and help you understand some important features of the course. First, you'll see the course description as well as my contact information. A great way to reach me is through the email nheilbrenner@mercy.edu. I pretty much live on email, so you'll get a reply very quickly. There's an academic integrity statement. I want to remind everybody that I will be scanning for cheating or plagiarism, and I do take that seriously. Here's the contact information if you need an accommodation in this course for students with disabilities. If you need counseling, we do offer that free at Mercy. Anything that you're having trouble with regarding your computer or with Blackboard, I'm not the person to turn to. We do have a really good help desk here. You can call 914-674-7526, or you can email them and they'll help you out. This course does have a number of it has a fieldwork assignment worth 10 hours. We'll be going into that later. Let's talk for a moment about course policies. So there is a makeup policy, and that is for any reason, for most assignments, you can submit work up to a week late after the due date, and you'll have 10% of the points taken off, but you may do that. There are a couple of exceptions to this. No discussion posts may be submitted late. The reason for that is that we discuss things as a class and then we move on. So if you're late to a discussion posting, nobody's reading your posts and you're not commenting on others. The fieldwork and the extra credit vocabulary may also not be submitted late because they occur at the end of the semester. No work will be submitted after or accepted after August 9th. As for submission of papers, all papers must be submitted using Microsoft Word in APA format. If you submit your paper in PDF or TXT format or another type, I'm not going to accept that, so please make sure you get your papers in using Word. Google Docs has a feature that allows you to convert to Word. I suggest that you learn that before you try to upload your papers. Most assignments may be revised, except for discussion board postings, fieldwork, and extra credit. And there's a procedure that we'll go over later in this lecture for how you have to revise assignments. When you revise assignment, you will be given the higher score of either original assignment or the revised assignment. In 99.9% of cases, the revised assignment is higher because I do give you feedback for how to improve. You can see the student learning outcomes, which you should be able to know and do by the end of the course. The required textbook is Classroom Assessment, Principles and Practice for Effective Standards. That's by J. McMillan, 2017, the 7th edition. Please get the correct edition. You don't have to order the lab or anything, just the textbook. You can rent it, you can get the ebook, you can get a hard copy, but I do need you to get the correct edition. Here's how you will be graded. 40% of your grade comes from the class participation. These are the learning modules that I mentioned before. There will be a quiz project for 20%. A performance assessment project where you design a rubric for 20%, and your fieldwork paper is 20%. That adds up to what I call 100 course points, or 100% of your grade. And then on top of that, there's an extra credit opportunity worth 2 points extra credit. So vocabulary. So your total possible score in this class is 102. You can refer to my grading scale and see what your score is. So if you earn a 90, you would be earning an A- in the course. I remind you that this is a graduate course, and so even if you were to be an undergraduate, you would have to earn at least a 70 to pass it. Let's go through the various assignments. I'm not going to talk in detail because as we get to them, I'm going to give you a video that explains in much more detail and depth each assignment. However, just as an overview, I said that 40% of your classwork, your course grade is from the learning modules. These are always posted and due at Tuesdays on midnight. The first learning module is due June 7th. There's usually an assignment, readings, videos, discussion board, and often I post these well in advance. I don't post them all at once. I might post one in advance. I find that if I post them all at once, some students will rush through them and lose track of the material. If there is a discussion post, you're expected to do two types of posts. One is a response post, and this is your response to my questions. These should be meaningful and in depth. Next week I'll post a document called How to Post. And then two reaction posts. These are reactions to colleagues. These posts must go beyond good job. You must comment on your colleagues' posts in a way that extends the conversation. You could add to the discussion by posting about your own experiences. You could use something from the lecture or the text. But the important thing is it can't just be a sentence or two saying good job. Most reaction posts are a paragraph or two long. Again, these will not be accepted late. Discussion boards are graded with the rubric that you see here. 40% of your discussion board score comes from your original post, 40% come from reactions to two colleagues, and 20% come from what I call professional communication. Are your posts spelled correctly? Do you use correct grammar? Are they respectful? This semester, I'm introducing a unique feature, optional discussion sessions, and I will email you for the week if there's an optional discussion session. Attendance is not mandatory. However, if you do attend, you do not have to do the discussion post for that week. These will be 30-minute long, and they will focus on the posted discussion questions for the week and perhaps other content as well. There's a quiz project where you get to design a quiz due July 19th. That's worth 20% of your grade. It's important to note, you preschool people, you can't design a quiz for preschoolers. It would not be developmentally appropriate. Those students are not reading yet, so your quiz must be at a second grade level or higher. And there'll be much more about this later in the course. There's a performance assessment project where you design a rubric. And again, this should be at second grade level or higher. The draft of your rubric only is due July 26th, and your final project is due August 2nd. There'll be much more later in the course. The last thing that's due is the fieldwork paper. This is your classroom observation. And this is, you have two options. You can observe in a school for 6 hours, or you can observe videos online for 6 hours. If you've been in one of my classes before, you must view different videos from the ones you viewed in a previous semester. You may go outside of your certification area if you've been in my class before. If you haven't been in my class before, I'd prefer that you stick with the certification areas. So if you're adolescent English, for example, you'd be viewing adolescent videos. In addition to this, there are 4 hours planned in for writing your paper, doing your fieldwork logs, and there's also a disposition survey and chalk and wire that you'll need to do. And again, this will all be explained later in the course. This is one of the only assignments that may not be turned in late or revised due to when it occurs. There is an extra credit vocabulary project, and again, you can look in the assignments folder for all of these instructions and everything, by the way, but there's a template in there. Basically, it's just defining the week's vocabulary words and using them in a sentence, submitting that at the end of the semester, and if you do a good job, you can earn up to 2 points extra credit vocabulary. In addition to a description of the assignments, at the end of the syllabus, you'll see the course timetable that tells you week by week what's due. So for example, we're in week 1. That's the module 1 is due Tuesday, January 7th, and the topic is Introduction to the Course and Introduction to Assessment. I also put the vocabulary word along with what page they're on in the text, so you have no trouble finding that. And what's due is learning module 1, all the activities that you're doing, plus chapter 1. So always refer to the current version of the syllabus if you're confused about what to do. For this week, make sure you have completed all the activities in the Readme file from week 1. That's found in the course content in week 1's module folder. There's a checklist at the bottom of the file that I'll show you in a minute. Everything for that module is due Tuesday, June 7th. Now this is the Readme file. Every week when you open up the weekly folder, this file will be at the top and you'll say Readme. It tells you everything step by step what you need to do for the week. It also gives you some topics and so for example, what you should be able to do, the outcomes. So after this week, you should be able to introduce yourself to your classmates and to Dr. H using a discussion forum, correctly identify basic features of the course, distinguish between some basic forms of assessment, and we're going to meet over Zoom. This is in the middle of this week's Readme file, so you can get a sense for how it looks. It's broken up into several activities. You're given the purpose of the activity, how much that section is worth for the module. So for example, the introductory posting worth 25% of the module. The purpose is to get to know each other step by step how to do it. I want to talk for a minute since you're going to be turning in your first assignment, which is called Types of Assessment. Most assignments, as I said, can be revised, and the way to revise assignments is I will give you specific feedback when I turn the paper back to you in the grading window. You need to open that and look at my feedback. Here's an example from a previous semester of some feedback I gave to a student. You'll see in the middle of the page a little bubble. If you click on that bubble, my feedback expands. Here I said teacher discusses, questioning, observation, and so that's some feedback I was giving to a student. Look at all of your feedback to improve your score. When you make changes, I would like you to leave those comments and any grades at the top of the paper or any rubrics in place, and then make your changes directly onto the file that I graded. Highlight it in some way. You could type it in a different color font. You could highlight it using the highlight key. Whatever it is, you should just save that file and submit it back using the same submission link. I'll take another look at it, I'll rescore it and give it back to you. Only one revision is allowed per assignment. So again, I posted instructions for how to do this in this week's module. It's important and it's actually a part of the Readme file. One of the steps you have to do is to read that how to revise assignment. But just to remember, don't delete anything I've done. Highlight your changes, save it, and submit it using the same link that you used to submit the original assignment. At the end of every Readme file, there is a checklist. At the end, many students find it helpful to say, have I done this? Have I done this? So you just go through the checklist to make sure you've done everything. That's it. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to me at nheilbrenner@mercy.edu or through the course Blackboard message system. Thanks, everybody.